Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I know, wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
Oh, I guess we're starting, girl. It's
Let's
our
start.
mid-April edition. Happy Easter.
Oh yeah, what day is this episode coming? It's like next week, right?
I think it's the day after Easter. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the day that we recorded in advance, obviously. Today's the day that we're gonna celebrate Passover, apparently.
Oh,
Even though
sure.
it's way after Passover.
Yeah, sure. I'm Martyr,
I'm C Tepper.
and this is Wig It Out.
I miss when we used to scream that.
Oh yeah,
But we're not allowed to anymore.
and our levels would go out. I like the quieter version. It's easier on my ears when I'm editing.
When you
but,
edit. I'm
yeah,
sure
and-
the audience agrees.
and in general, I'm glad we're not screaming constantly. Whatever. Caitlin, what are we doing today? Who are we doing? Who are we talking to?
This queen I've known for, I think, as long as I've been in New York nightlife, to be honest. She is amazing. It is Miss Kari Kerning. Woo!
Hey,
Hello.
I've known each other a very long time.
Very long time.
Oh my God.
Very
I'm
long.
so excited to finally be doing this with you and having.
Yes, it's honestly a long time coming.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like usually we see each other in like hurried 5 minute.
Literally, like it's just like hi and bye. Like we were next to each other at the Glam Awards, and we'd even like, I was like, oh, that's Kari, but like it was just too crazy.
That's usually how like nightlife is to me. It's just like a blur of like fast motion. And like, wait, who did I talk to tonight?
Also, you are so tall that like it's like hello. I'm here.
Oh my God.
So welcome to our crazy shit show.
Shit show that we call a podcast. Yeah.
I love it. Am I a special Easter guest? I was like, when you think of religious holidays,
I feel like you would do like something like Easter Bunny, because like you're very conceptual. So I feel like you would do an Easter Bunny like drag look with eggs or something.
I'll take Easter Bunny. I can do that.
I would love to see that. Okay, let's get into it. Where are you from originally?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I have so many answers for this because you just lie about your background all the time, right? No, so I was born in Poughkeepsie, New York, but Kari Kerning is from Columbus, Ohio. So a lot of people think I was born in Ohio, but that's really where my gay life happened. And I came out and I started drag. So that's my spiritual home.
What were you doing in Columbus? Were you there for school?
Yeah, I went to art school there. I went to be an illustrator, and then I ended up a graphic designer at the Columbus College of Art and Design, which is a tiny little school in Columbus, Ohio, downtown, with a bunch of, queers and weirdos, which is the best kind of mix of people you can have, I think.
How did you fall into drag in Columbus?
Oh my gosh. So Columbus has like a really big drag scene. There's a lot of queer people there, and they have for like a long time. I've been doing drag. Oh, this is upsetting to count. Like
I know it's been a long time.
like 12 or 13, maybe. It's 12. Let's say 12.
Okay.
But even back then, like early Drag Race, I think it was like season 1 or before. There was like, a big drag scene there.
Yeah.
And in college, we would have like the queer group, and we invite drag queens, and I slowly started meeting them, and then I would host the drag shows in like skag drag or like silly stuff, and tiptoe my little toes into the water. And finally one of my friends was just like, when are you going to do drag? Like they were like mad at me. They're like, when are you doing this? This is ridiculous. So they had me sign up for an amateur competition, and it kind of like thrust me into the world of performance. So
how did you end up finding Nina West, or did she find you?
It's kind of a bit of both. So I had her. Nina was like, so around then, pre-Drag Race, but Nina was still like a big deal locally. She had just won the Entertainer of the Year pageant the year before I met her. Everyone was talking about her, and we had her do like a charity show at my college, and I was like so excited that I got Nina's phone number, and she picked up the phone when I called her. And so I kind of knew her through that. And then that amateur competition I did, Nina ended up being the host. And I went in having no clue because I'm not, most drag queens in New York are dancers or actors or Broadway people. I had never done any of that stuff. I was like a visual artist. I did not know how to move my body. I was so awkward, but I just went with like full on confidence, gangly weirdo, and brought a bunch of puppets and did a bunch of dumb shit. And I ended up winning. And then afterwards, Nina came up to me and she was like, "Do you want to do my show?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Had no idea that that was like a big thing until afterwards. And everyone was like, "Wait, what just happened? What was that conversation? What's going on?"
Ooh.
Like really dumb luck fell into it. I'm very thankful that she saw something and pulled me aside.
When did like she officially become your drag mom?
So Nina in Ohio used to do these really big stage shows like 4 times a year, and they were like full on off Broadway, like 2 hour long scripted shows with a bunch of numbers in it. And so I ended up doing one of those. And then midway through the show, she would like for new queens, she would give them a song to do. So she was like, I think this it was like a oh my gosh, who's the like a Carmen Miranda-esque song. It was a little silly. She's like, "You're funny. I think this would be good." And I like came up to her one day at rehearsals because we used to do rehearsals during weeknights after work. And I had like a little sketchbook and I was like, "I know you want me to do that number. Would it be okay if I did this?" And I opened up the sketchbook and I had these really weird saggy titties drawn and my friends were making them out of silicone. And she just stared at it for a long time as I explained. And then she went, "You're going to be my daughter." That was it.
Well, the West family is gigantic.
It's huge.
What's it like being in that huge drag family? I feel like it's like the entire Midwest is literally part of the West family.
I think that's probably pretty because there's Nina and there's Virginia and now there's a whole bunch. I was Nina's third daughter, I think. So I feel like I was there early in like a really good spot where we were all really close and bonded. But even now, like I haven't lived there in almost 10 years, but I try and go back before COVID once a year at least. And there's like a real close-knit bond with everyone. So I meet new brothers and sisters because there's like drag kings and genderqueer performers and just fucking weird, cool stuff there. But every year I meet new people, but there's kind of like a shared trust and like family energy where like they've been pre-vetted so I can trust them and they're friends with me because they know we're sisters. It's really cool. It's like a nice extended family.
Yeah, there's a documentary that you're in, which I cannot remember what it's called right now, but I wrote about it for work.
Yeah, I think it's Kings, Queens, and
and in-betweens, right?
Yeah.
Kings, Queens, and in-betweens. And it kind of like looks into the entire like Columbus like drag scene. And like it's kind of like Manhattan and Brooklyn combined. Like it's huge.
Yeah, and there's been like weird crossover too, because like Crystal something.
Yes.
Huge there. And when I moved to New York, she was a New York, like she was New York, she was Brooklyn. She and Georgia Moore were everything.
Yeah, they kind of created Brooklyn drag, and then she moved to Ohio.
100%. That's like when I see all the kids. This makes me feel very old, but when I see like new kids starting, I'm like, you don't even know. You don't know where you come from.
It's true. It's true. I've had this conversation with a lot of queens about that.
Yeah, you don't remember Crystal being a zombie on the subway screaming at people. That's where you come from.
Yeah, like they don't know who like paved the way for them, which is funny.
It moves so fast though. Each generation is like boom, boom, boom. But yeah, it's a good it's good to know your history.
It is. Right, Martyr? Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that Crystal something started Brooklyn drag. Thank you very much.
I figured you would know. So how did you decide on your name?
So it took a really long time because I took it far too seriously, I think. Right now, I probably like if I could redo it, I'd have had 4 names by now because I would just like pick one and then change it. Like, girls in New York do that all the time. They're like, I'm not Kitten anymore. I'm Bob. I'm not, Jasmine's had 6 names. So and it works. But I was like, so in my mind, it was such a serious thing. So I had like all these lists and would write things out. But I knew I wanted a name that like felt like special to me rather than a name that might already exist. So kerning is a graphic design word, and I'm a graphic design dork. Yeah, so it is. Bob the drag queen's very good at explaining this, because once he sat down in a group setting where it was explained, and ever since then he will verbatim repeat this definition to me. But kerning is the space between letters in design. It's like the spacing. It's like the dorkiest dumb thing, but it's a weird word.
I've been wondering about this for years, so I feel like I'm getting very educated.
Right? It's like, it's obscure enough that I didn't think someone else would copy it, and it sounds kind of like a name. And then I just went with alliteration. I like Kari, and there used to be this really hot lesbian bartender at Wall Street nightclub in Columbus, Ohio, and her name was Kari, and she spelled it Kari, and I was like, I want to be you, so I'm going to spell it that way too.
I like the name because I think like no other drag queen is gonna have that name, so you're never gonna be confused with anyone else in a good way. Because there's a lot of names, like pun names and stuff, that there's like 10 or 20 people with that name.
Yeah, it's so hard to have a unique name, especially now that everyone does drag.
Yeah, and just to differentiate yourself online too, like you need it.
Do you ever get called like a mispronunciation? Do you have a favorite?
I get a lot of Karis. I get a lot of Kernings, which I don't get, but like work. I love it. I was on a Spectrum like internet service call once, and I was typing instead of talking, and the person said, "I'm Kari," and wrote Kari, and I paused for a second. I was like, "Is this like a scam? Is this, are you me?" Like I was off. But there are some of us out there, so
y'all exist. But I don't think the drag version of you exists. There's only one.
Yeah, I think I'm still number one in the Kari Kernings, at least.
Yeah,
Gotta be number one somewhere, right?
Somewhere. So how did you end up in New York City from Columbus?
So I was doing drag like 3.5 years in Columbus. It was great. I loved it. I did a lot of things. I traveled like regionally there with the family. And then I decided to go to grad school. So I came to New York to go to Pratt. And I remember as I was packing up, I was talking to Nina, and she was like, "Oh, if you want to leave your drag here at my house," because like people outside New York have houses, which is crazy. She was like, you could store stuff here and get it when you come back or whatever. And I remember my mom being like, "Oh, why would I ever leave my drag stuff?" Like I didn't even think that was an option. I was like, "No, I'm taking it with me." And I just, lived under a bunch of bags under my bed of wigs and really poorly constructed costumes.
Sounds like the dream.
Yeah, I really made it.
How did you figure out how to navigate New York City nightlife? Because I feel like it was a very different time when you got here.
I'm still learning, so like tips.
I mean, it's like, I was lucky to meet people that I connected with, and I think that's the best way still, is like when you're going to shows and stuff, like personal connections and friendships are still what make everything happen. And I don't know, I was in New York for like a year before I started actually doing drag. I would like tiptoe out, and then I started meeting people and talking to people like online through my drag Facebook to remind them that I did it. And then just started doing like competitions, Star Search, and Marty Cummings used to have a show at the Ritz. I did. I would do, oh God, I'm trying to remember what shows were back then. A lot of just like asking to do guest spots on competitions. Saliva was at the Ritz, which was huge. And I think Saliva was probably my first like break into the scene, because I had all this like weird, crazy, cool stuff from Ohio, and no one knew who I was. So we had a competition, like, I'll bring everything I have. And it was a lot. So I did well there and made a bunch of friends, and then met like Bob and Tina and just a bunch of other, crazy kids in wigs that ended up being my friends.
We'll talk about Saliva a little bit more later.
Oh, yeah.
But before we go to our break, I think you have one of the most unique drag styles I've seen.
Thank you.
Like, where did the puppets come from? Where you have very creative costumes, you have really, really funny comedy mixes. Where does this all come from?
That's a great question. I feel like the best drag, and you see this with like people now, like when I go, I love amateur competitions. I love going to Miss Barracuda and seeing what new people are doing. I feel like the best stuff is just like so authentically that person that they can't help do it. Like when you see someone doing something, you're like, why are they doing that? If the answer isn't I can't not, then it's wrong. Like if you're being motivated by like money or fame or this is what's popular, you're probably failing. And so I feel like all the weird shit I do is just like things I did as a little kid, like watch The Simpsons and draw little paper puppets or, laugh at Sarah Silverman jokes. And then I just like funneled it all into drag somehow and made it work. But I think not being a performer and being a visual artist first influences maybe where a lot of my stuff comes from.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like it's just so different from anyone else I've ever seen in the best way possible.
I mean, you'll see it in the worst way possible if we do a chiptunes like roulette number, and then you'll see that I know nothing there.
That's okay. Everyone has their strengths.
There's something I know nothing about.
But I think you bring something really unique to the table. So
Thank you.
That's what's important to me, at least as an audience member. I don't know about anyone else.
A lot. Thank you.
And on that note, I think we should take our little break. And we'll get into some competitions that you've won in our next little segment. So we'll be right back, kids. Bye.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I know, wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
And we're back. We love a break. We love a good drag queen 15.
It's not 15 with
It's
us.
not 15.
Thank God. 8 hours later.
I know, right?
Every time.
Well, continuing on, you briefly mentioned it in our first segment, but you have some title holders, much like your drag mom, including Miss Havana, Miss Saliva, and Miss Barracuda.
Much smaller titles.
I was like, Entertainer of the Year is
still
titles. Different.
There's still titles, baby.
But I appreciate it and I'll take it.
We'll totally correlate.
Listen, if we're making a CV, if one title versus 3 titles, I'm just saying.
Oh, she knows. She is in this to win it.
I got you.
Resumes lately.
But tell us about your journey into nightlife pageantry. What started it, what caused it, and are you still doing it?
Yeah, I really like competitions and I really hate them. I actually hate doing them because it creates such an amount of stress in me that it's hard to function. So I don't do it all the time. As you said, I've done a few, and often they're like the weirdo competitions, so like Barracuda and Saliva that like really value creative thinking and just like fucking weird drag, because I'm not gonna win a shuck and buck competition here, let's be real. But I think like the pressure cooker of having to do something like a competition or a themed show or like something that you have to achieve creates the best drag, because it really makes you think and make new stuff, but it also stresses me out to the point that it's hard to survive, so I try and parse them out a bit. But I love going and seeing stuff too. Like honestly, so I'm a former Miss Barracuda, Barracuda Bar, which is another creative competition. And my favorite thing every year is to go back as a former and judge and talk to people, because like people do wild stuff in drag. It is like the only art form where no rules is really a thing, because you'll see people do crazy shit that you're like, who told you could do that? Like, why do you think that's okay to leave the house and do that? And B, thank you, because I needed it.
You're right. What was it like winning those titles? Did you have steep competition? When did you win? Like what years?
Oh my gosh.
So
I think I'm Saliva was 20. 2012, 2013.
Well, Saliva's a long time ago. Like,
Yeah, that was like my first thing. Havana was 2016, 2017. It's actually been a little bit. It's been a little while.
I mean, for me, it doesn't seem that long
I know.
ago.
Well, same.
Yeah, right? Because we're
But-
old.
But I mean, both of them like have the best, people and names. Like, yeah, Barracuda. I know. I'm trying to think of. I think Macy Sumcox crowned me, and then I mean, she who should not be named. I crowned Cherry Pie afterwards. But at the time,
Oh.
it was a lot of creative names I was excited about.
Was that for Barracuda?
That was Miss Barracuda. Yeah.
Okay.
But Jasmine Rice is a former Miss Barracuda, and oh my gosh, there's a million, and I can't remember any of them now because I have to.
That's okay. You don't have to.
Egypt is our current, and Saliva was the best. Like Saliva is, maybe it's because I was young and now I'm old, and old people always think things used to be good, but it was the best.
I've talked to so many queens about Saliva. It was a little before my time, but like everyone says it kind of like it basically seems to be like the hub of like where drag took off in New York, really.
100%, because it was like these crazy Brooklyn girls,
Yeah.
Thorgy Thor and Isaiah ran it, but they came into Manhattan. It was the only time where like everyone came together, and you'd sit in the audience and 97% of the people there were drag queens. Like it was just us for us on a Tuesday night. And because of that, you try and like one up each other. You just wanted to get people like going, yes, and like standing up. And that encouraged the craziest shit. I mean, people would light themselves on fire, be covered in broken glass. Honey LeBronk's pooped out an apple live in front of people. Like stuff that now when people like, oh my God, I did this really edgy thing in drag. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw it at Saliva like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just wild and the best. I remember when I competed, oh my gosh, it was like Bianca Del Rio was there, Bob the drag queen, Tina, we're just all upstairs. I'm trying to think of what is she does the stilts drag race.
Ivy
Ivy.
Winters.
Ivy Winters was still in New York. She was just like,
Yeah,
as
she
I
was a
getting
Ritz
ready,
girl.
she walked by and commented on a costume I had, and I remember being like, oh my God, New York is magical. Like it's just like all these like famous people walking around hanging out.
Yep. All at the Ritz, always.
Just all at that shitty upper room at the bar.
You're right. What lessons did you learn from competing?
I learned what lessons did I learn? I think the best lesson is just that like you need to make new stuff. And it's a thing that I struggle with too, because like I think as a comedy and a visual comedy queen specifically, New Yorkers reuse numbers a lot. We have new people in our audiences every week, so you can do the same numbers and perfect them. And there's something really good about perfecting a number, because a New Yorker will do a number with precision that no one else in the country has, because we've learned all the little beats, all the little acting moments, and we can fucking kill it. But the flip side of that is if you just are comfortable doing the same thing over and over, it gets less exciting. And so competition, to me, it's always exciting to like be forced to make new stuff, and you're trying to make stuff that's going to win. So it's going to be the best stuff. So like when I am in a competition or I'm talking to girls who are competing, I always say like, whatever you make for this is worth it, because it like, you're going to make your money back. You're going to do it a million times. You're going to like blow everyone away with it. If every time you go into a bar for a bar show, you do a competition number, like think of how wild and exciting that is. So every new one you make is like another one in your little holster that you can bring out to impress people.
I agree. Like, I think that's the best part of competitions is not really who wins or loses. It's just like, it's forcing you to be creative and come up with something new. Because I certainly get bored of seeing the same thing over and over again.
And I mean, I was saying as a comedy queen that does like visual stuff, so often my outfits match a number, so it's more obvious when I'm redoing stuff, because I feel like girls can get away. They're like, I do it in a blue dress now, and you forget that they're doing the same mix every week. But when I do a number, it's like very obviously from the photo, I know what you're doing again.
You're right.
It's like the pressure to, even I have to remember it a lot. Like, make a new number. Come on, make new numbers. Make new numbers.
Well, your numbers are a bit more complicated because I feel like there's like costumes involved and like more things are happening.
they have a few things that go into them.
Yeah, there's like some like tricks going on. Like the other girls, they can perform other numbers in different costumes, but your numbers are very specific.
Yeah.
In the best way. So switching over, you've kind of gone to the other side and you've become a promoter for New York City's National Comedy Queen prelim, Miss Big Adam's Apple. What's been different about being on the other side of the pageant scene?
It has been so incredibly fun. I love pageantry, and it's exciting to be in New York when pageantry is like having an upswing right now. It's like having a big moment. In Ohio, everyone does pageants and always has. So like when I came to New York, I was like, oh, New York girls like don't care about pageants. And also when I came to New York, it was like the early drag race. So New Yorkers didn't really paint. I mean, like look at old photos of like Tina Burner. It was
Or
lip
current
gloss.
photos. Just kidding.
I was like, if you look at like Cherry Vine and like these older New York girls, it was like a very not pageanty look. It was more like a day wear fish look that was in vogue.
Mhm.
And I think Drag Race has changed that, where everyone is kind of up to their like level of polish. But I think I was like rolling my eyes of like, oh, these girls don't even care about it. And then of course New York opened me up to a whole bunch of other shit that I didn't know, and I got schooled very fast. But now that these New York girls who are so funny and so smart and so talented are also interested in pageantry, it's like a game changer. We've had 2 gay Americas in a row from New York,
Yes.
Maya and Andorra. That's insane that it's like twice in a row.
Yep.
We have Continental girls, Jasmine and Brenda and Fifi. And then Tina Burner was our national comedy queen when I joined the promotion racket game family.
Who are you scamming? Who are you scamming?
I was like, it depends on what word I use. But it's just a really exciting time, and I like the craft side of drag a lot. I like making mixes. I like talking about structure and like performance stuff, even if I'm not doing it. So being able to work with really talented people and help if needed. We had Holly and Svetlana Stoli, who both made top 10, represent New York this year. Holly came in 3rd place. She was our second alternate. Both did incredible. And like representing New York with them and going to their hotel room the day before, final night and like tweaking a mix or talking through a costume is the most fun for me. And I'm really loving it. And excited to, do it all again next year. And we're going to get 2 more top 10s. I know that.
Yeah, hell yeah. What makes this pageant different? Because I think a lot of people have a specific idea of what a pageant is, but I think this pageant is very specific in like theme and like what they're looking for in a winner, I guess.
So different. It's only, honestly, I used to think, because I used to go with Nina to EOI, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do EOI one year. EOI is creative, but there's a lot of things that are like not comedy specific that do well also. It's not just about, there's different types of creativity. Comedy Queen is the first pageant that is for comedy girls. And I think that girls, I always say like to my other like comedy queens, I'm like, girls like us are always loved in a bar. They're loved in a city. They're never respected that much because I feel like it's not seen as serious, but there's a huge amount of craft and work that goes into the dumbest shit, like Continental is incredible and impressive, but so is like crafting a really good poop joke that'll work, a million times in a row or whatever dumb shit we're doing. And so Comedy Queen is like built for us to show off and succeed. And that's really cool. There's categories that are very unique. I think the most unique category is the 60-second challenge. And that is instead of a Q&A on stage or instead of, any other spoken moment on stage, you come on stage with someone, they have 2 bags with question marks on both. You pick a bag, you reach in, and the minute you touch the object, a timer starts on the audio and it's 60 seconds. And you have to take the object out, look at it, and sell it to the audience like a QVC style challenge. And it is so fun. And also, I've seen girls that I know are good at this bomb so bad because the energy and the ticker and the theater full of people scare the shit out of you. And I love it.
I feel like, because I do sales, I feel like I would destroy that. Like I would
It's
Kill it.
I remember Tina's a great example because I had gone with Tina 3 years until she won. And her first year she bombed it. And she's a girl that like I always have known Tina on a mic is like the best and the funniest and so carefree. The first year she froze and got real nervous and like it did she talked the whole time, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then the last year she killed it. And so the promoters actually have a video of her first and last year side by side as a like, don't do this teaching moment.
I feel like you could practice for that though. Like, even though it's spontaneous, like you could definitely like prepare for that.
Oh, there's definitely like a balancing act where I think it's like good to practice. It's good to have some jokes on stock.
Yeah.
And this is how New York girls run shows. You know, you're
Yeah.
responding live, but you also have a cachet in the back of your mind. It's just like being able to like shorten that to 60 seconds and make it sound natural and like you're responding to the object rather than reading a script is like a balancing act that takes a little bit of a rehearsal, I think, to get there.
I want to see this now.
I think this year will be online soon. They recorded it, and I think in years past it was like a pay-per-view moment, but I think this year they're posting it. So I'll make sure to repost on all my socials when it's up.
Yeah, I want to see who won this year.
This year was Mr. and Ms. Adrian, who was in New York for I think 2 years. She's an Orlando girl. And she was in New York for like 2018, 2019, and then ended up going back to Orlando to work at Parliament House. Oh my God, her whole package was so good. Her gown was online for a little bit. It had a moment, I think, on Twitter. It was a Doc Ock Spider-Man gown and had these like big tentacles.
I saw that, yeah.
It was incredible, right? When she walked up, I was like, well, fuck my drag.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She came to win this.
So you got nominated for the Glams for this pageant. What was that like for recognition by your community?
You know, she's been around a long time. She doesn't always like people notice her. So it felt nice.
Well, I feel like New York isn't so pageant friendly, so it was interesting that this got nominated, you know.
Yeah, I was very proud that it was up there against some like really, really big events too. You know, we could have been in the competition category, but I don't know. I think that pageantry is like separate and unique from competition in a way that I'm proud of. And I was like really proud to be nominated for best event. Plus the glams are so fun. Like most of my looks, honestly, my numbers now come from glam outfits I made. Like I'll make a wild outfit and then 4 months later, I'm like, fuck, I spent a lot of money on this. I should probably make a number. And I end up making a number. So it's always been like a big part of my New York nightlife journey. And it's always a fun night, even if the whole time you're exhausted and want to go home.
I've seen you at so many glams over the years.
That's probably the number one place we've seen each other.
Yeah, it's definitely the glams.
Like when you're like this, like shoved between 30 people walking around the back of the glams.
I'm like, oh, that's you. What's up? So what would you recommend to someone looking to compete in your Miss Big Adam's Apple pageant?
Well, I would definitely recommend that they follow me on Instagram so they can get all the information about it. No, but I think it's for people that are, you have to be funny, but funny can be so many different types of things. So like being funny that is authentic to your persona and who you are. And if that's something you're interested in, 100%, you know, like Holly Box Springs did so well. And her type of comedy is so different from, you know, my comedy, from Svetlana, who was there, from, you know, Tina and Bootsy, who have both done it in the past, like really different, but she knows who she is and she knows to like lean into that and find the funny there and bring it out. I think the worst thing you can do in the competition is like try and be somebody else, because there's a million types of things that succeed. Someone did live stand-up, you know, Holly did a million incredible costume changes, you know, like there's the spectrum of drag there.
Well, outside your pageantry, it seems you have a monthly spot at Lucky Chang's. How'd that come about and how do you like it?
I used to work pre-pandemic at Industry a lot, which I had a great show with Iris Vinchell and Tina there. And it was very like nightlife, queer people, midnight energy. And Chang's is a very big change for that because it's brunch show. It's a lot of like straight people. It's a lot of people who maybe have not seen drag before, Jersey and Long Island and people who travel into the city. So at first I didn't really know how my stuff would go over there, or how it would be. But I know Svetlana for a long time, and she's the show director there. She invited me to do some shows with her. She was kind of organizing this brunch show. And we co-hosted a couple times and had a really good energy. And then over the pandemic, Svetlana and I did a digital show together when real shows weren't happening. We had a Zoom show that worked really well. And it just kind of kept being a thing. So when bars opened up again, I was back at Chang's with her. And the cast there is like really exciting. I think it's all of the preconceptions I had about like Chang's daytime brunch drag were wrong. Like the crowd is really exciting, really engaged. The girls run the gamut from girls who've been there forever and are so, legendary to like 22-year-olds who are shucking, bucking and twirling and doing all that stuff. It's just a really solid cast and a really fun show. And I've been really appreciative to be part of it. So, I'm just making fart jokes and bird shit jokes there now.
As one does.
When can people see you there?
I'm trying to think of it's an erratic schedule.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say this week's show, but this will probably come out.
No, it'll be after, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have seen me last. I post on my social when I'm there, but I at least do once a month, and often more. I think I'll be popping up on Fridays too there, and I do Saturdays and Sundays. So. Yeah, she's a woman of many lives. I have a graphic design job during the day and nightlife at night, so I'm still making both work somehow.
Well, speaking of that, transition.
Yay, transition!
Did I lead into that transition?
Yes, you
did. Thank you so much. Ding, ding, ding. As a graphic designer, do you have any favorite projects that you work on or have worked on?
I will say I am proudly when people say like, oh, how long have you been doing drag? I'm like, oh yeah, 13 years. But if you take the time, like the hours a week I do it versus a full-time girl, maybe it's like 5 now. I don't know. But to be able to live both lives at the same time is a feat that I think many people in New York, where it's all or nothing, struggle with. So I've been proud of keeping both going. But I have a children's book coming out that I am so excited about.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's my like third job, I guess. Now I'm adding different lives on top of each other. But a design friend that I went to grad school with, she and I have been writing and illustrating a book for the last 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And we have a publisher, and it's coming out in September. It's called Fitting In, and it's a little kid's picture book, and it's intentionally written like gender inclusive, so there's no pronoun specific characters in it, and we hope it's a story that a lot of kids, but specifically queer trans kids, can see themselves in. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Congrats. Yeah, that's major.
You know?
Related, do you ever do like designing of posters for girls or your own shows? Or
I do. A lot of the stuff out there I may have secretly done. A lot of Ms. Cracker and Tina Burner's merch I've done.
I forgot you've done Cracker's merch. It makes sense.
Yeah, I did the Cracker Heart logo. I did her script name. And a lot of the industry show posters are mine. They pop up here and there.
On the DL.
On the
On the DL. I can't let everyone know, because then I won't have enough time to do the requests I'll get.
Yeah. Heard that. Well, with that, I think we should take our second, I can't count, our second little break.
It's like our third break, it's over.
Our third break, it's over. as we close out with our usual shits and giggles.
Excited.
We'll be right back, kids. Bye.
Wig, okay.
I know. Wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig. Did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
And we're back.
We're back.
Ooh.
Mm.
It's time for Martyr's least favorite question that she refuses to give to Caitlin.
Yeah, I know. Why?
don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, you need to give that to her now.
No, it's funnier because I make you do it, but
Yeah.
I don't know
Carrie.
why. Whatever.
Do you think you'll ever be on RuPaul's Drag Race or Dragula or Camp Wanakiki?
I could see Camp Wanakiki.
Yeah, I've gone through phases where I thought it was right for me. I didn't think it was right for me. Right now I'm gonna say probably not. I'm finding a lot of new ways to do drag that excite me, and a lot of them are like digital. So like TikTok and Instagram videos and digital shows. And then with my design stuff and children's book, I'm hoping to like find more and more ways to kind of bring Kari into other things. So today, I'll look at my watch. I say no, but tomorrow it might be a totally different answer.
I would love to see you on Dragula because I think you bring something totally different than everyone
Yeah,
else
until
brings.
they ask me to like put a clothespin in my butthole or something,
Yeah.
I would not do any of that crazy
I
stuff. They're
know.
people guns. Oh my god, no, I'm a baby.
But that's also entertaining, you know?
Should have freaked out on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, I am neurotic, so I'd be good on TV. I know that.
Yeah. I could also totally see you on Camp Wanakiki. That was not part of the question originally, but I can see it.
I love Camp Wanakiki. It's so I love that there's also like so many more things now
Yeah.
like to do. There's so many more film drag content.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Are you gonna be like a TikTok star? I haven't seen your
No.
videos.
If I can really harness that, I don't know if that's right for me, but do what I can on there.
I find certain queens get a lot of success off of it, so that's
I've had some old, it's always like old videos that I always knew were good, but like never
Yeah.
trended, and then they'll like explode on TikTok, and I'm like, see 10 years ago I was right.
I mean, just upload all that.
That's
Yeah.
all. Oh, don't you worry.
Yeah.
We do content, and it's just because I have 12 years of backlog.
Yeah. I feel like your stuff is kind of made for like viral internet moments.
your lips to God's ears. Is
I
that-
mean, I'm just saying.
That leads us into our next question. Besides TikTok, do you have any future projects to promote?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I always have a million things happening, but other than my children's book, which I encourage everyone to go see, the link is in my Insta profile. I've been doing some really weird, experimental, fun video stuff with Tommy Brannigan and David Dalrymple. It's called Space Spam. We have an Instagram account, but it's also going to be on my social and like other stuff. It's kind of this weird alien character in a gorgeous David Dalrymple costume that I play. That bumbles her way around experiencing life on Earth, and we have a lot of fun, kooky videos that are going to be launching very soon. Some are out, teasers are out, but there'll be weird stuff coming. So hopefully that'll be fun.
I feel like you're always doing like a million things.
That's. I'm trying to see how far I can push myself before I physically fall apart. I think we're right at the edge. So
That's good. I like content creation.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've been given about drag?
I think the best advice is just, I kind of said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's worth it, is just to be authentic to yourself as a performer. I think there's so much copying right now because it's such a visual medium, because it's on TV, because there's tutorials everywhere. But especially we're starting to see it with Drag Race now, right? Like we're oversaturated. So drag is not the easiest way to be famous. It's not the easiest way to make money. It's not the easiest way to get attention. It's not the easiest way to work on your mental issues. Go to therapy. But drag is a beautiful like outlet for self-expression. So if you just can't not do it, you should be doing drag. If there's another motivation behind it, do something else, because you're not going to create stuff that's compelling unless you're finding like what really makes your voice unique and leaning into it. And drag can be so many different things, and to an insane level, that whatever you are, you can find a way to make it drag.
That's deep.
Yeah, I'm like a real emotional finish to the show.
It was good. I'm 100% here for it. You're
It's
correct.
just like, copy shit less and just be weird, or do what, or if you're not weird, be not weird. Just be who you are.
I think that's kind of why I've been enjoying. España's back, Drag Race España, and I love that version of the international edition because I think it's so different. But everyone does seem like they are true to themselves and like really care about the artistry. And I watch like regular Drag Race, and I'm like, eh.
It's hard now because you're always going to be inspired by other people, and that's good. But like the kids who do Drag Race now are inspired by other people on Drag Race rather than other things. So it's like, it used to be, oh, I'm inspired by movies or culture or fashion. Now it's, I'm inspired by someone else and being inspired by someone else being inspired by movies, culture, and fashion. It's like when you make a photocopy of a photocopy too many times and you're like, this is garbage. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, well, I just watched the other person. They're still performing. Like, drag moves so fast. It's not like they're gone.
True. I'm with you.
I believe it's my favorite question.
Yep.
So I'm nervous now.
As you should be. We're airing the dirty laundry. Miss Kari, can you tell us a tantalizing, crazy tale from nightlife? Something interesting, something shocking, something probably from Saliva circa 2012.
Something shocking, scandalizing. I mean, the problem with nightlife is that you ask that question and I'm like, God, I don't know. There's nothing shocking and tantalizing. And the images in my mind are the weirdest, craziest shit. But I'm just like, all of this normal stuff happens. Like, my friend comes to my apartment at 10 in the morning after being arrested in full drag and like hung over. And it's like, oh, that's normal. I need a better story than that.
I've been there. Yeah, we've all been there.
We live such weird lives. I will say the first time so I'm very good friends with Tina Burner. I've also I'm close with Bob the drag queen, especially when she lived in New York. And the first time I met the two of them, I did not know Tina. I had met Bob once, and he was like, come to Fire Island. I'm going to do a show there, and you can come stay with us and hang out for the weekend. And so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And this was like the first night that I was hanging out with both of them. We were in employee housing at the Pines, which is that like really prison cell like room with two beds in it. And it was Bob and Tina. And I'm like, oh, hi, both of you. And as the night spiraled from saying hello, cut to 3 hours later, I think Tina was drunk and screaming and sitting on the floor to have someone shave her head because she wanted to get rid of her hair. And so I'm just standing in a room going, what is happening? And she's like, ah, and they're shaving her hair off. And Bob is, I don't know what, screaming in the other corner. And I was just like, what have I gotten myself into? What is this life? I don't know what's going on. I can't get off this island. Am I safe? But I will never forget Tina making some twink like buzz all of her hair off that night because she wanted it gone, I guess.
That's a new one. I will say that's a new one. We haven't had. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Right? You got it. It's a good barometer for like the type of person that succeeds in nightlife is down for whatever. And if that's what the energy of the night is bringing, I guess I was just like, all right, cool. We're going here. This is what we're doing. But in hindsight, I'm like, I didn't know either of these people. What was going on?
You're still wondering to this day.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I was wondering why.
Why? A lot of stuff happens at Fire Island.
That's an understatement. Yes.
Yeah.
Still haven't been. Maybe this
Oh
year.
my gosh, you need to. I mean, there's competitions on Fire Island you can do.
There is, and usually there's not a lot of people competing. So.
And I think they
Tear
give
shot.
you a room for the night, so
Ooh.
that's really the currency there is a room rather than
Yeah.
play. So expensive.
I'm down for that then. We'll see. We'll see, girls.
Yep, have fun. All right, our last question of the day. Where do you want to take your drag in the future?
It's a good question because a queen of a certain age. I'm not 22 anymore. And
You still look good though.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't fishing, but I'll take it. But every year there's like 50 new queens, and they're all really, really good. So it's like it's a hard career to have longevity in, and I'm thankful to still be around and relevant. The things that excite me in drag are more creator driven stuff right now, and a lot of that's happening for me online, but that doesn't mean it's always going to happen online. I want to start doing weirder things that are more story driven, and whether that's like a digital show with puppets or a one woman show that's different from the cabaret styles that maybe you see a lot. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm trying to find ways to funnel Kari into more specific outlets. And I think the digital stuff the last year is like a big proof point of that. And beyond that, I'm not sure, and I'm trying to figure that out. So there's exciting things coming.
I think your stuff will definitely translate over well to digital.
I want to like lean into what makes me weird and just bring something new. So there's a one woman show coming of some type.
Also, you can bring your graphic design into it.
Yeah, it's all got to overlap like a weird like sandwich, right? It's
Yeah.
No.
I feel like it's always been there with you though, in the best way possible. Like I feel like they've always clashed and like shown who you are and what you're interested in.
Maybe it's me just being conscious of it now more and more.
Yeah.
Bumbling through it.
Yeah. That happened.
Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us, Kari.
Gosh, this is the best. Thank you.
You've been a pleasure to have.
Yeah.
Where can the kids find you on the internet?
Find me on all the socials. Instagram and TikTok is what I put energy into right now, but I'm on all the other crap too. It's Kari Kerning with a K, so it's Kari Kerning on everything. Everything. When you're the only one that spells your name that way, you get to own all the handles.
I know. Good marketing.
I know, right? Well, thank you again so much for joining us.
Yeah,
It's been a joy.
It's been so fun. Thank you.
Well, I was Martyr.
I was Tapra.
And this was
Wigging out.
Bye, kids.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm C Tepper. You can follow me on Instagram at CTEPPER and read my book, The State of Drag, where I interviewed 175 drag queens from around the world. All proceeds go to charity on Amazon.com.
Ooh, I love that. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Drag the Martyr. And if you have any thoughts, comments, dick pics, send them to dragthemartyr@gmail.com.
Listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Pandora.
And catch up with past episodes on WERRRK.com. That's WERRRK.com. Artwork for Wigging Out was provided by Glitter Baby Online. That's Glitter Baby Online. Thank you.